Chalubi, baby. Good morning, Roz, my succulent little garden snail. And who would we be scaring today?
Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork last night.
Oh, that darn paperwork. Wouldn't it be easier if it all just blew away?
Don't let it happen again.
Yes, well, I'll try to be less careless.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
Whew, she's nuts.
Always.
Yes, paperwork. My favorite thing, said absolutely no one ever. Although paperwork is often dismissed as less important than results, you'll see that when it comes to Shine, paperwork is extremely essential to our success. In the following presentation, we'll review the guidelines for documenting each of your interactions with a Shine beneficiary. But first, some background on why data is so important to the Shine program. Documenting your contacts with beneficiaries allows the program to more accurately measure the success of your outreach efforts. It also allows us to identify underserved populations that may be harder to reach. We may use the contact information to reach back out to beneficiaries to conduct surveys on their satisfaction with the program and to find out how we might improve. Throughout the year, and in particular during open enrollment, the focus is on identifying the most cost-effective Medicare plans for beneficiaries and capturing the savings that are realized when you enroll beneficiaries in a new plan. Data is used to track and recognize your efforts as counselors. And last, but certainly not least, we need to track our efforts in order to maintain our federal funding, as well as to provide progress reports for any additional grants we may receive. The Beneficiary Contact Form is the Shine Counselor's primary reporting tool. The BCF serves as a checklist for the Shine Counselor to ensure that all topics appropriate to the individual beneficiary are covered, and also serves as a reminder to screen every beneficiary to determine his or her eligibility for a number of public benefits programs. The form has several demographic questions that help us to identify how well various populations are being served. In addition to documenting the topics discussed and capturing the financial impact of any plan changes or new plan enrollments, the BCF also provides a record for the Shine Counselor to use to document follow-up items and next steps for a beneficiary. Before you begin to counsel, we strongly recommend that you gather the necessary information from the beneficiary in order to complete the first side of the BCF form. As you can see, the BCF is a busy form. We're going to break it down by section and review the most important data fields that require your attention. You'll note a red asterisk next to certain fields. Please pay attention to these fields as they are mandatory on each form. Starting at the very top of page 1, you'll see a field titled MIPA Contact. MIPA stands for the Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act of 2008. There are several topics throughout the BCF that qualify as MIPA discussion topics, and if your counseling session touches on any of these, you should always check this MIPA contact box. More on this later as we move through the rest of the BCF. The counselor information section asks for your name, the name of your assigned counseling site, and the zip code of that site. The zip code will allow the state and county information to pre-populate when the data is eventually entered into the STARS system. The next section of the BCF is to record contact information for the beneficiary and/or any representative that accompanies them to or represents them at the counseling session. We suggest that at a minimum, you enter the beneficiary's first and last name on the form, as well as a phone number where they can be contacted. Email and street addresses are completely optional. Once again, entering the zip code, and this time it's the beneficiary's zip code, is critical. And please don't forget the date of the counseling session, which is easy to miss, located in the middle of the BCF. The next section has a series of 7 demographic questions. Again, please note that you must answer all the questions in this section. We ask that you do not check "not collected" in any of these categories. Before you begin to address other topics with the beneficiary, best practice requires you to screen them for both income and assets. You should be using the most current public benefits chart to see which additional programs the beneficiary might be eligible for. If they fall within the income or asset limits of any program, this should be noted in the next section of the form. Again, you should not select Not Collected in this section. You'll notice that we have referenced the MIPA section here again from the top of the form. If you have screened clients for any Mass Health or Medicare Savings Plan programs or for extra help, you have met the requirement for a MIPA contact and should check Yes in the MIPA box. You'll notice that the list of topics for discussion starts at the bottom of page 1 with sections on Medicare A and B as well as on Medigap plans. Note as well that at least one topic of discussion needs to be selected in order for the form to be complete. This does not mean one topic per section. It refers to at least one topic overall. Of course, there is no limit on the number of topics you can check for each counseling session. We will be distributing a handout to each of you with detailed definitions on each of the Beneficiary Contact Form fields, including the discussion topics, to assist you in checking off the appropriate boxes. Now turning to page 2 of the BCF, on the left-hand side, you'll see several additional topic categories, including Medicare Advantage, Medicare Part D, low-income subsidy, and prescription assistance programs. Depending on the beneficiary you are counseling, you may cover several of these topics in one session or focus on only one of them. Since you have already screened for low-income subsidy on page 1, you should also check the eligibility screening box under the Part D low-income subsidy section. A reminder that if you haven't already done so, you should be checking the MIPA box on page 1 if you have screened, applied for, and/or explained the LIS or Extra Help program. The right-hand side of page 2 displays additional topics of discussion, including Medicaid, other insurance, and a number of other general topics that commonly arise during a SHINE appointment. Again, in the Medicaid section, if you have screened for or applied for Mass Health or any MSP program, or if you have assisted with recertification, check to make sure the MIPA box on page 1 is also checked. After completing your counseling session, be sure to note the time you spent on each contact. While an average session is 1 hour, you'll also want to account for any time spent preparing for the meeting, doing any follow-up, and completing the paperwork or data entry. A session should be considered complete if the current issue has been resolved or if the beneficiary has been given the information they need. If you've completed a new Part C or Part D plan enrollment for a beneficiary that results in a cost savings over their current plan, we ask that you capture those numbers and enter the old and new costs in special use fields 1 and 2 on the bottom left-hand side of the Beneficiary Contact Form. We will get into more detail later on how to print the backup that's required to verify these savings. These additional reports will become part of the total documentation package that is submitted to your regional director. There are 3 additional special use fields on the bottom right of the BCF form. While fields 4 and 5 are currently not in use, field number 3 serves a dual purpose. If you have enrolled a beneficiary in Prescription Advantage, you should note a 1 in this field. If you have established a mymedicare.gov account for them, you should enter MMA in this field. If you happen to have done both, enter 1/MMA. Your BCFs must be turned into your regional SHINE director as soon as possible after they are completed. In the meantime, counselors are responsible for ensuring that forms are kept in a safe, secure location at their counseling site in accordance with our privacy policy and confidentiality rules. Please do not leave them in your car or on an open desk, and be sure to shred any additional documents or printouts that will not be kept on file. As we work through additional training cases, we'll be asking you to complete a BCF to ensure you are comfortable with how to complete the form. Please know that this is an important part of your work as a SHINE counselor, and your attention to getting this right will make a huge difference to the program.